Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to QTV Tonight. I'm your host, Dan Wallace, and this evening we have a very special episode for you. We're pleased to welcome two young filmmakers from Kingston who are promoting their new film, The Death of Indie Rock. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce our first guest, the editor and producer of the film, Marc Griffin.
It's a pleasure to have you. It's a pleasure.
So Marc, thanks for being here this evening. I know you're a very busy man.
Oh, thanks for having me on, man. It's been one hell of a week. We just launched our website, www.indierockfilm.com, and we're promoting the film all over Kingston and Belleville.
Okay, so the film is The Death of Indie Rock.
That's right, that's right.
Great title.
Yeah, I actually well, as a group came up with it, but it was sort of my idea. But it's about three guys in a garage band in Belleville, and they meet a girl. One guy kind of falls in love with her. She runs a bar in Montreal, and they decide to, give it a shot, and they move out there, try to do the indie rock dream thing. Kind of all tumbles down to the ground, but it's kind of a wild ride to go on while they're there, and I don't know, they say you're supposed to compare your film to other films, and I've been saying kind of Easy Rider meets Hardcore Logo.
Ooh, very good.
Yeah.
So, from what I understand, Marc, you've been working on this film now for 3 years.
Yeah, 3.5 years, yeah.
Let me just ask you, how the hell does it take 3 years to make a movie?
Well, on a professional film, everybody gets paid millions and millions of dollars, and you work 40, 50 hours a week. But everybody on this film is, Queen's alumni or Queen's students or Queen's faculty even, and we worked part-time, evenings and weekends, and kind of just threw it together slowly, and you kind of learned as we went along. The process kind of came to us as we went. But it was a great learning experience all around. So
let me ask you about the process a little bit more. Obviously, over a span of 3 years, you're probably going to have a little bit of a roller coaster ride, I would assume.
Yeah.
Is there any challenges in particular that stand out?
Well, there's been so many. Everything's a learning experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
But with one of our lead actors, one of the guys in the band, Hot Dog, he actually left set for personal reasons about halfway into the shoot, and since we'd already shot most of his part, you can't go back and reshoot because we didn't have the money to. So basically, we had to work around it in the editing.
Okay.
The analogy I would use is it's like, say you had to write a formal letter to your boss or something, like a form letter, and 5 letters on your keyboard didn't work. You couldn't use the vowel U, right?
Okay.
So we basically had to salt and pepper him throughout the film. It was a pain in the butt, but it's a great learning experience, and I'm sure the guys on the Batman movie are kind of dealing with Heath Ledger the same way right now. It's just things that happen, you learn, you move on, and you grow as a filmmaker from it. So, yeah, it was difficult at the time, but I'm glad we had to go through it, because it actually kind of in a way made the movie more organic.
Now, I understand that we have one of your friends here this evening.
Oh, that's right.
Actor and sound producer Doug Brown is here this evening.
I have to say it was a very collaborative effort. Tons of people worked on this film, and we got to get Doug out here because he's a hell of a guy, and he composed all of the score for the film, as well as acting, and is co-producing and sound editing.
Okay, wow. So this is a multifaceted man.
Many hats, this man.
Well, without further ado, let's introduce our second guest for the evening, the star of Death of Indie Rock, Doug Brown.
Nice to see you again. Thanks so much for having Well, thanks so much for having us, Dan. This is really, really exciting.
Well, speaking of exciting, the film is premiering at the Kingston Canadian Film Festival this weekend, and I also understand that it has an extended screening at the screening room on Princess Street.
That's right. Starting on March 7th, we're going to have 9:30 nightly screenings for at least a week, with the potential of longer. So it's really been coming together for us. People are really showing positive interest in the product.
There'll be also matinees on the Saturday and Sunday as well.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, great. Now, Doug, I wanted to ask you. I spoke to Marc before about this ever-evolving 3-year process of working on this film. From what I understand, you were both one of the lead actors, as well as the sound designer on this project.
That's correct.
Tell me a little bit about what it's like existing in those two realms of film production.
Well, they're completely different hats, but I guess the most exciting part about it was I got to really present myself on almost like a performance stage, because they needed somebody who both was a musician to actually play the drums in the film, and I play the drummer in the band, as well as somebody who could act. So being able to do both, I was hired. But then halfway through the process, I said to director Rob Fiddle, do you need a composer for it? Because I've been doing a lot of work in theater. So it was a very, very exciting process, but what ended up happening is I was forced to compose for all these very specific moods. The film is extremely fast-paced, and I had to be able to shadow not only the drug use in the film, all the turmoil, the inner conflict, all the vices that a lot of the characters were possessing. So to do this, I had to create a lot of music that was very transitionary from one moment to the next, but also just foreshadowed all the major themes. Which actually will probably tie us to the sample clip we decided to bring today.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah, this is definitely just going to showcase a lot of like the fast-paced editing that was in the film, courtesy of Marc Griffin, but also just like the energy and the nature that I think a lot of the cast and crew brought to the set every day.
Also, there's a song that Doug composed in the trailer as well.
Okay.
What's that called?
It's called The Love of Lovelace.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, here it is, ladies and gentlemen, The Death of Indie Rock.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
That looks amazing, wow.
Thanks, yeah. It's been a lot of fun to put this together.
I've seen some scenes from the film.
Yes.
And your character is a very troubled person in
Yes.
this film. What did you do to prepare yourself for this role?
Well, my character Parker, he has a loss in the family very young in his life, so he ends up compensating through this through a lot of drug use and abuse. So what ends up happening is he becomes an addict. So to prepare for this role, I actually ended up spending a lot of time with drug addicts as well as in rehabilitation centers.
You're kidding.
Yeah, I really put myself
He's a
out there in
method
the
actor.
scene.
He trains. He does a lot of research before.
Yeah, I really wanted to know not only what it was like to be a drug addict, but also just the philosophy behind addiction.
Okay.
So I was researching anorexia and bulimia, as well as like television addiction and any sort of addiction. I found there's this common thread.
Now, Doug, let me ask you, when you're stepping into this role, did you ever find it difficult to separate yourself from the character Parker and keep that a separate part of your
Yeah,
life?
it became very challenging. We shot primarily over a 2-week period, but then what happened was we had to go back and revisit, and it would take me 2 to 3 hours to get into character sometimes, and then sometimes days on end to get out. It was not only an emotional investment and a psychological investment, it was a physical investment because my character had a lot of very obvious physical mannerisms due to his drug use. So it was definitely a hard transition and hard on my friends and family, but they were very supportive throughout the whole process, and now we're very excited to finally see the final product.
See, the thing I find amazing is just the dedication both Mark, yourself, and yourself, Doug, have had to this project. And you know, looking back over the past 3 years that this has evolved.
Yeah.
If you knew then what you know now, do you think you would still work on this? And if you were ever to, you know, maybe try to produce an independent film again, what would you take from this experience?
Well, film is definitely a collaborative process, but with this specific collaboration, I think what we all realized was we're going to make a lot of mistakes, we're going to make them really, really fast. So this 3-year process, if we do it a second time, it would probably only be a 1-year process, but I'm glad we made these mistakes when we were young.
it's trial and error. You're going to learn from your mistakes, and you're going to do it better the next time.
Yeah.
That's filmmaking for you.
I don't think we'll make the same mistakes for us.
No, you won't. And another thing I think young filmmakers should focus on is writing a good script beforehand.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Putting it into the words, and that's the backbone of your story.
Definitely.
It all goes from there.
You see, I know a lot of film students here at Queens, and I've been a part of film production before myself. And, you know, to be an independent production, it's kind of hard to imagine seeing yourself coming from just a concept to a completed film.
Yeah.
We're shocked with the amount of publicity and press we've been getting out of this. We're just delighted. I mean, we already have distributors talking to us, and we haven't even. We're just premiering now, so it's wonderful. I mean, just we're harvesting from 3 years of very, very hard work, and it was worth every single second of it.
Well, it's an incredible story. To all of our viewers, The Death of Indie Rock is playing at the Kingston Canadian Film Festival. But if you don't get a chance to see it there, make sure to go see it at the screening room when it plays from March 7th to the 13th. This whole story is really inspiring, and I really wish you both the best in the future, and hopefully you'll be back to promote your next film.